everyone. I'm Clare Elford, CEO of Sofware, and we're delighted to be here with you today talking about artificial intelligence. How can we maintain the integrity of evidence? So during this session, I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Clue, and then we're going to look at the use cases for generative AI. Then consider where do we start, how do we prioritise, and then I will be joined by a few of our Clue experts for a discussion and some concluding thoughts. So just to give you a bit of context on Clue, I guess the context and credentials. Clue is a SaaS product used for intelligence and investigation case management. So really an end-to-end tool for investigators and intelligence officers to carry out their work. So that's everything from first referral, triage, development, investigation, and case preparation. So in a policing context, this includes criminal case building and submission of cases to CPS. So this is a picture of what our customers do, what our customers investigate. So this is a breakdown of our revenue mix by threat type. We have police customers, typically in specialist crime, counter-corruption, financial crime, lots of government agencies and other organisations across different sectors like sport, corporates and NGOs. So in terms of the guiding principles for us and our product development, number one, ease of use. Number two, interoperability, so making it really easy to get data in and out or accessible to other systems. And then, of course, the integrity of investigations. So we're really excited by the opportunities presented by generative AI. So Clue is all about saving time for our users, making them more efficient and helping them to gain insights from their data-heavy investigations. So generative AI is an enabler for both of these. It can deliver much needed efficiency and data insights for our users who are managing data-heavy investigations. So we see lots of use cases for generative AI in intelligence and investigations, and we'll take you through a few now. So if we go back to the intelligence and investigation lifecycle, and at this stage you can think of this as not just being Clue, but probably you can apply this more generally to the work that you do. So what we've done is looked at where there are inefficiencies or pain points or simply opportunities to leverage generative AI to help our users become more efficient. So in that first refer stage, we see opportunities for automatically prioritising and ranking referrals by trainable criteria linked to relevancy, urgency and context. Also, lots of information coming in from maybe victims or whistleblowers benefits from natural language processing in the chat function to improve the quality of the data that's coming in. And during that triage stage, we see lots of opportunities for automatic identification of entities in text. And as you can see, lots of other use cases as we go through the life cycle. So at the develop stage, for example, there is an opportunity to automatically identify entities and propose links, to summarize large volumes of text, and deduplicate. So data quality we know is a really hot topic. And again, during the develop stage, lots of examples. When we come down to the investigate stage, we see opportunities for automating draft schedules ready for review to report to support disclosure officers, best practice assistance, frequency anomalies, and so on. So as we go through each stage, we have lots and lots of opportunities to leverage generative AI to make our users more efficient. And we see these as the kind of consistent themes across all of those. So triaging lots of sort of large amounts of data, asking questions of data in natural language, and so on. So hopefully what I've shown you is there's lots of opportunities, but really where do we start? So how do we prioritize this and what have we learned? So first of all, for us, it's really, really important to get it right. So there are many decision-making gates in intelligence and investigations, and our overarching principle is that AI is a preparatory tool to assist human decision-making. And we also consider the new EU AI Act in everything that we do. We are monitoring this very closely. So on that note, I would like to open up to a bit of discussion with our Clue experts. I'd like to welcome Siobhan Myles, our Director of Product, Natasha Laird, our General Counsel, Earnest, our Director of R&D, and Matt Horne, our Director of Intelligence and Investigations. And at this stage, I'm just going to stop sharing so that we can see everyone. So I would like to come to Siobhan first. Shiv, we've seen all the exciting opportunities for generative AI in the intelligence and investigation lifecycle. The use cases are very clear. Where do we start? How do we prioritise? And do you see that there are any quick wins? Well, you're on mute, Shiv.
A classic unmute. Yes. So that's the $64 million question, right, Claire? Lots of opportunities, lots of directions that we could go in, and how do we make that decision? So I guess first and foremost is one of our foundations that applies to the way that we evolve any area of our product. So that being that we connect with our customers to really understand the problems that they're trying to solve with our technology, and we feed that into our thinking around the what and the in what order. So as I said, that's a foundation that runs across how we do all of our prioritization. But I think it's really interesting in the AI space in particular, that brings with it other inputs into that decision-making process. As you said, the first of which is us making sure that we act responsibly. As everybody in this session will know, the potential for real-life consequences that could arise from the misuse of technology along and throughout that investigation life cycle and process are enormous, more so in our market, arguably, than in any other. So we are, relentlessly cognizant of that when we're thinking about prioritising things. The EU Act that you mentioned is a great source of guidance for us on that front. It categorises AI use by risk profile, and we've considered this when we've been creating our roadmap. And actually, we see huge potential for the rollout of AI capabilities that are categorized as low risk, which will deliver significant efficiency gains for our customers. So those things being in the areas of, collecting, organizing, processing data, triaging information, finding patterns, linking, suggesting links, and also potentially in the prevention work where there isn't any personally identifiable information. So I think, broad brush speaking, it makes sense for us to start there, whilst of course continually assessing where the other opportunities exist as we move through that delivery process. And I guess that brings me to the other sort of prong of decision making that goes into the way that we prioritize, which is that within this capabilities space itself, the pace is significant, and we anticipate advances in this area to be rapid and novel. So the other important factor for us is making sure that we are ready to adopt those technologies and grasp those opportunities as they come along. We're very lucky here at Clue to have an in-house technical innovation department. So yeah, we have already made good progress on our technical readiness front.
Thanks, Shiv. Natasha, I'm going to come to you next. How do we ensure we get this right? So I think in your response, if you could consider just the question, the title of this session, how can we maintain the integrity of evidence? But perhaps don't feel limited to that as well, because I think we could possibly see this slightly more widely. But yeah, be interested to hear you.
So in short, we have guardrails in place to ensure the integrity of evidence, which is clearly crucial. These guardrails are set out in a code of conduct which Clue have put together, written specifically for our sector and also written for responsible AI. Our code of conduct is essentially a framework, and it sets out existing legislative requirements that apply, and also the emerging AI principles. So, for example, we are looking quite closely at the new EU AI Act, which would apply if we're supplying into the EU, but is likely to become the gold standard. Also, the government's AI principles, so the UK government. In terms of existing legislation, UK GDPR compliance goes a long way to meeting the EU AI Act requirements and also meeting the UK government's AI principles. So, for example, we're going to use the ICO AI toolkit, and the principles that apply here, such as data minimization and data accuracy, are very important and will go a long way to achieving our aim of responsible AI. We also set out in our code of conduct the principles that we adhere to when developing our AI capability. And this is an evolving framework that the product team and the legal team are working together on. So these principles are the overarching principle of making sure that AI is used for preparatory tasks to aid human decision making and to present options to a human for a decision. So an example, the human would make the decision on evaluation of evidence, but using the tool which has established links and provided insights. We also follow the principles of explainability and reliability. So we need to be in a position to explain what training data is used and what our logic and process is. And at the end of the day, we have to ensure that fundamental human rights are respected, such as the right to a fair trial. And our aim is for the product team and for the legal team to work closely hand in hand in order to deliver responsible AI.
Great. Thanks, Natasha. So Mal, we've heard from Shiv about our view on where the quick wins might be, and Natasha in terms of what we need to do to maintain the integrity of evidence. You're doing quite a bit of work now laying the foundations for generative AI in our product. What, in your view, are the most important foundations for generative AI to work?
Thanks, Claire. Well, first of all, data quality is crucial to any form of success when integrating Gen AI. The GIGO concept, or garbage in, garbage out, is especially relevant to data interrogated by Gen AI, as the quality of a response is directly dependent on the quality of the source data. Poor quality data set will simply return poor quality responses, which could mislead. However, AI itself can be used to help address those issues by using methods such as data cleansing and augmentation. As well as having good quality of data, the shape of that data is also important. For example, we're currently looking at graph technology to generate a knowledge graph of our structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. We can further augment that data by using AI to detect entities, uncover potential relationships, and perform sentiment and other forms of analysis. This knowledge graph then becomes our source of truth, and it's what we use to ground LLMs so as to only return facts from our domain. The concept we use for this is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. By implementing RAG, Gen AI will use contextually relevant information from our knowledge graph to provide the responses. This dramatically reduces the opportunity for Gen AI to hallucinate. In other words, make up an answer or just respond with an incorrect answer. RAG also means that we don't have to spend hours, days, or months training specific models for our domain, bearing in mind that our domain can and often does appear different to our diverse customer base. Negating the need for training specific models also means that we can upskill our existing development team without the need for hiring expensive machine learning personnel.
Great, thanks, Mal. Matt, I'll come to you. Last but not least, so given everything that you've heard and the context and title of this webinar, how can we maintain the integrity of evidence? What are the one or two key takeaways that you would give to the audience?
Well, first thing I'll say is that as a former intelligence officer and a former investigator, now I can really sense and feel and see what a powerful capability and tool this is going to bring to those of us that are working in this sector. So this is hugely exciting, and linked to that, I'm sort of very proud actually to be part of an organisation which has taken such a considered, detailed, ethical and responsible approach to how we're going to do this, but also being very bold and innovative and pushing forward, because that's what we know. We know that our customers need this. And I talk a little bit about how often there is somewhat of an arms race going on when it comes to technology between the good guys and the bad guys. And that's definitely the case here. First of all, look at the amount of material, the amount of data, the amount of risk that teams have got to manage. AI is going to be vital for helping us with that. But secondly, the deployment of AI by criminals and the need, therefore, for organisations that use capabilities like Clue to be able to use our AI to fight back and to be able to deal with those AI-based attacks is really important. So this is here. This is not future technology. It's not emerging technology. It's now technology, and we all need to get on with it. And I think what we need, I hope you'd agree, is to co-create these capabilities as well. We want to be working with the market, working with the experts and the specialists. So it's great to be part of this today and to be part of that co-creation of capability that's going to make such a difference going forward.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks, team. That was brilliant. And so hopefully the audience found that useful, and hopefully the audience can also see what a real multifunctional team you need to really make the most of generative AI. So concur with you, Matt. I think it's exciting, overwhelmingly positive. So I would say, there are lots of use cases that are lower risk, high gain. So let's get the guardrails and the frameworks in place and get going. I think the other thing, again, I just concur with what Matt's saying. We'd love to work as industry, but to really together with the sector to co-create these capabilities. But my final thing I would say just to this audience is don't underestimate how important data quality is and actually having access to the data. So I chair the Tech UK working group for interoperability in policing, and that group is there because there is still a big problem in policing where data sits in silo and it's disconnected. So data interoperability is a really key foundation for getting the AI piece right. So there's a little plug for interoperability. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good rest of webinar. Thanks.